Welcome back to another episode of Fishing with Vance. On today's episode, what we're going to do is I'm going to do a product review on something that we use all the time on Fishing with Vance, and that is our Minn Kota motor. So what I'm going to do today is going to be this guy right here. It is the Endura. It's a 55-pound thrust, the Endura Max. And this is my fourth Minn Kota motor. I've had 2 or 3 others, a 40-pound, real old school one, that I got 25 years ago. I don't know what, I think it was 65 pounds of thrust or something like that. That one just broke not long ago. So missed that motor for a lot of reasons that I'll talk about when I get into what I don't like about this particular model. So the one we're going to focus on today is the Endura Max 55-pound thrust. I have a 40-pound thrust of the same model, and then also the Endura C2. It's not the Endura Max, it's the Endura C2 55-pound thrust. But today we'll do the Endura Max 55-pound thrust motor. So before I get into the review, I want to let you guys know that check out the fishingwithvance.com website. It's been overhauled, and I've been working real hard on it, so go check it out. If you haven't been out there in a while, go check it out. It's a good way to see where we have all of our Pelican Bass Raider mods and prior product reviews. The video of the day that I've been putting out on both Instagram and Facebook. Go check out those, 30-second to 1-minute video of the day, and just go from there. A lot of other fun stuff. So go check that out. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. A lot of you guys, I get a lot of views on my videos, but not a whole lot of subscribers. So if you wouldn't mind, hit that subscribe button, and you won't miss any of the product reviews. So that being said, let's get right into the review. All right, guys, so here it is. It's the Endura Max, 55-pound thrust. So let's start, since we're right here, let's start right here. I'm going to put this guy like this so we can see it. Alright, so first thing, I need to clean it up since the season's over. So let's start up here at the top. This digital readout that measures, how much battery life you've got left. We use that some during the year, but to be honest with you, it always seemed to come back with the same reading. And this would be after, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 hours of being on the water with this guy. And maybe that's a good thing, but every time we would check it, it would always come back either totally full or maybe 1 bar down. And then when I would get home, I would throw my battery on my battery charger, and it could be down to maybe 60-70%. So I'm not sure this thing is completely accurate, but I guess I've never ran my battery down to where it was in the red and then came home and saw that it was at 25% or something along those lines. Now, those of you that follow me, there's the Pelican Bass Raider over there, a little junked up right now. However, we don't have a gas powered motor on this boat. This boat is just driven by two trolling motors, often one if it's just me by myself, or if my man Catter goes, he doesn't like having a motor up front. But when High Life goes, he likes that second motor. However, hope you can see this, so I don't have a cameraman today. But anyway, so we use the battery power is my point. And I've never gotten to the point where we've drained the entire battery, at least not in the last couple of years. So long and short of it is, this digital readout, it really hasn't been that big of a deal for us. And I don't know that it's completely accurate, but I can't say that it isn't either. So I guess that's a lot of words to say. I don't know if this is beneficial or not. But put it this way, it's never failed me. It's never said it was completely full and the battery shut down. So, all right, moving on. So this is one feature that I really like about this, the Endura Max trolling motor over the Endura C2, which is over there on the wall. You probably can't see it. That's another 55-pounder over there. Catter uses that for his 10E, and we used to use it on our Pelican, but now we've upgraded to this guy. Now, what I'm getting at is that motor over there, the C2, for the handle, it has speeds 1 through 5 that click as you turn. And those of you that have that motor are familiar with it, there's no variable drive like there is on this. And you might not think this is a big deal, but as you can see, it's just a variable speed. And this comes in very handy in that sometimes, believe it or not, you're trying to ease into a spot or just hold it on a spot out there on the water, and that clicking of speeds 1 through 5, sometimes 1's not enough and 2 is too much. This variable drive, I've used it all the time, especially in reverse. If I'm fishing out of the boat by myself, I'll run the boat, even though I'm sitting in the back. I'll fish in reverse a lot. Since there's no one in the front of the boat, I more or less use reverse to guide myself in and out of spots. So this variable speed is very nice to just kind of work your way down the bank as you're fishing. So big upgrade over the selected speed. I'm not sure what it's officially called, but the clicking of speeds of 1 through 5. So that I really like. I like that in this one and in the 40 pound that we put on the front sometimes. So big plus there. Something else I wanted to talk about in case somebody was looking at what the heck, this is the first time they've seen our channel. They're wondering what this is. And I would recommend that you go check out the video of where we put these on. The first time we put these on our trolling motors. This was an idea by High Life, my partner, and other than that utility table over there, this is the best idea he ever had, and it is the Anderson connectors that he puts on each one of our trolling motors. And like I said, go back and watch the video in our mods playlist, and you'll see where we put this on. Long and the short of it is, the motor sits in the battery sits in the middle of the boat, but he runs an electrical wire down both sides of the boat, underneath in the channel, that runs to both ends of the boat, whether we're fishing with 1 or 2 motors. And when we first did that, it was a real pain, especially me with a bad back, to have to get underneath that table and disconnect the battery. Well, now, I'll demonstrate this in a minute when I put this on the front of the boat. It's just a matter of putting this connector on and the connector on the wire. It runs through the middle of the channel, and click it, and off you go. It's not that big a deal when you get there, but when you're done for the day and you're heading home, it's super nice to unclick this, take the motor off the boat, and toss it in the back of the truck, and off you go. And it's just been one of the best mods that High Life's ever come up with. So when we buy a new motor, the first thing I do is commandeer my partner to get him to put me on the Anderson connectors. So if you see that and you're wondering what it is, that's what it is. It's an Anderson connector. Like I said, go back and check out the video where High Life explains that. So back to the motor. So this guy's pretty heavy, but it is a 55 pound. I don't know what it officially weighs. I will put the specs in the bottom of the video, and so you can see just what it weighs, especially for those of you that are lifting it up and putting it in your truck and so on. But so moving on to this section of the motor, I would say this is probably my least favorite aspect of the newer type Minn Kota motors. Like I mentioned in the opening, I used to have, I got it 25, 30 years ago. It was the head of the motor was white, and this part of the what clipped onto the boat here, the clamp, it was all made out of steel. And I understand Minn Kota is probably trying to save some money, and also this is lighter, but it just doesn't work as well as the steel one. If I could find that motor again, or a motor like that had the steel clamp, it just worked way better. And it's not a deal breaker, because again, I bought 3 more of them. However, if we could go back to the steel, I would definitely say that. It just fit the boat better. It was easier to take on and off. And the reason I say that is, I don't know if you can see this, but I'll put this down here. This, and I'll demonstrate by putting it on the boat over there in a second. The old steel Minn Kota motor had a button right here, and all you had to do to engage, should have cleaned this thing, to engage and disengage this to lower or raise the motor was a button. And when you press the button, it didn't ever get in the way of the height or tightness clamps that are right here. and it was just a matter of reaching through, pressing the button down, and the apparatus would work perfectly. Whereas now, again, it's not a deal breaker, but I can't tell you how many times I've been out on the water. Let me move this up so you can see it a little better. I've been out on the water, and I go to lower the motor or raise it, and this height clamp has, depending on how the motor head has been turned, what direction we're going or whatever, I want to raise the motor because we're getting into, say, weeds or whatever it is. It's in the way. This ends up somehow in the way, and so this clamp won't work because you've got your height adjustment in the way. Now, somebody will probably write in, hey, that's user error, always make sure it's over here. And I do. I try to always make sure that it gets over here. But, again, you get in the boat, this thing gets turned all around, and you're turning one way, and this knob ends up in the way of this lever in order to move this up and down. It happens all the time. It's my least favorite thing about these motors. Other than that, I really don't have too much negative complaint other than I wish this was steel. All right, so that's the one negative. Now, let's move down here. I did not replace the blades on this motor. I know that other guys, and I should, because we fish, those of you who follow our channel, we fish in a ton of weeds. But you know what they say, you fish in the weeds, that's because that's where the bass are. So I haven't swapped out the blade on this, and this is just the stock blade that came with it. But I will say that it does a really good job of cutting through the weeds, and we cut through some very, very heavy cover and weeds out there at our fishing spots. So I really have no complaint on that. This does the job. I probably should try to buy, they sell props that you can put on here that will do a better job of cutting through the weeds. And I may try that some point, but for now, I just have this, the stock prop that came on it, and it works fine. Now, speed and power, the most important thing to me is definitely not speed. A lot of guys want to, get this thing moving. I think it moves me and my partners on that Pelican Bass Raider plenty good enough. Let me just move this up just in case you can't see the Bass Raider. So, now, those of you that watch Fishing with Vance, you know that, I'm a pretty big guy. I fish with Catter, High Life, and Penner. So, it's when we're on this boat, it's two grown men on there, and one of them's me, a bigger guy. So, I don't expect this thing to get up on plane. Now, on the other hand of that, this motor moves through the water pretty good. Whenever I've hooked up the Lowrance and checked the speed, we get up, top speed has been about 2.5 miles an hour, which again, moving me and the Pelican Bass Raider on our table, and usually my fishing partner, they probably weigh a couple 100 pounds, and so you're moving a lot of weight on this boat. It's pretty good speed, is what I'm trying to say. I'm happy with the speed of 2.5 miles an hour. There are times, that it's probably gone faster than that. I've never tracked it whenever it's just been me out there. Now, all right. So overall, from a speed perspective, I think it's fantastic, good enough for what you want it to do. The bigger, most important thing for me is how much power does it have in reverse? Because again, when I fish by myself, I'm always wanting to go in reverse and fish along that shoreline. And I pretty much fish, with the motor in reverse, just edging along the shoreline. I want power to keep to, if it's a windier day, to be able to stay on a point or stay on a spot that I want to pitch to. So I think the reverse of this is excellent. It's one of the reasons why we got rid of the C2 or moved it to, Catter got the hand-me-down, is because the reverse was not that great in that motor. We had to replace pulled apart a couple times, and it got beat a few times. We sheared off the pin and hitting a lot of bottom with it and things like that. It doesn't owe us any money. But anyway, the reverse on this, excellent. So I would say the power, from a power perspective, can't ask for any more. 55-pound thrust, it's running on a 12-volt system, so it definitely does the job. No question about that. So let's. I'm going to take this over now and show you how to put it on, how we put it on the boat, how it connects, and go from there. All right. So let's take this thing over here to the old Pelican Bass Raider. A little WD-40 in the way here. All right. So this is the front of the Pelican, but this guy usually runs in the back, but that's okay. And it just slides right on these Pelican bass raiders, or any boat really. And it's as simple as clamping this down. Now, these clamps, they do a pretty good job. Like I said, the old ones I think were a little sturdier and could clamp a little harder, but that's enough for this demonstration. And then to lower it, you just do that. Now, let me keep this out of the way. So there we go. Right off the bat, I clamped that on, and look what happened. I turned the motor around to get it in the right position, and the clamp is in the way. So we'll come back to that. What I was showing about the Anderson connection, if you were wondering, there's the motor, there's the cable that runs right through the middle of the boat. Here it is here when I get there, either me or High Life or Penner or Catter. There in the front, they throw their motor on. They just take the Anderson connector, upside down, and click it on, and off you go. It's not connected to the battery, or I'll demonstrate that for you, but that's the beauty of the Anderson connector. Pull that apart. You have to sort of wiggle it apart, but it works great. Love that. So there you have it, guys. That's pretty much it. Sorry for the bad camera work, but like I said, I'm by myself today. So in wrapping up for the Minn Kota Endura Max 55-pound thrust, I would say for controls, excellent. I really like it because of the variable speed. Power, no problem, does the job. I don't like the plastic clamp, and I definitely don't like the new design of how the release lever raises and lowers the motor, because like I said, it gets in the way of the height adjustment. But overall, man, to rate this motor, I would probably give this on a scale of 0 to 100%. I would probably give this about, I would say probably an 85 overall. Still good, definitely worth the money. I got this thing on sale. I think the price that I paid for it was about $255. It was on sale at a place called Dunham's. But again, overall, about 85% on this. I can't not recommend it. It does great for 12 volt system. So I don't know that there are better options out there. I haven't tried a motor guide from a transit mount before. So I hope this review helped you. If you have any questions or comments about the motor, or anything more about the Anderson connectors, or anything on Fishing with Vance, definitely leave a comment down below. Again, please subscribe and let me know what you think of this video and other review videos. And that's going to be it today. Thanks for joining me today on FishingWithVance.com.